Hey everybody, welcome back to Dakota Does Dressage. I am Andrea, and today we are jumping into this test that I feel like it's taken me all summer to get to. This is our last intro test to film and submit for judging, and I worked that horse so hard in September. I could feel it that this was going to be a good test for us. Everything that we learned over the summer was going to culminate. I was going to push for that 70%, and I can tell you there's a lot to talk about here. I got my highest score ever and my lowest score ever all in the same test. And I don't know if there is a term that exists in the dressage community for when that happens, but there should be, and we should come up with one. So this is going to be a longer video because I paid extra this month to get extra comments from the judge. So stick with me until the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's just jump right into it. All right, Western Dressage Association of America Intro Level Test 1. A, enter working jog, proceed down center line without halting, and then at C, track left working jog. I got a 7.5 on this movement, and you can see I'm all over the place in this center line. This is not our best center line. I can't believe I got a 7.5. Comments were entry fairly straight, could be more steady in bridle. From E to B, half circle left 20 meters working jog, and then B proceed straight ahead working jog. I got a 7. With comments of good energy but mouth open, and I can tell you he was like a load of bricks in my hands the entire time. From between M and C, develop working walk, I got a 6.5 here. Comment of prompt transition, stiffens shoulders in walk. I was really pushing him to go forward, so I'm not sure I agree with the stiffness part, but we'll see. H to B, change rein and free walk, and then at B, continue with a working walk. I got a 6.5 here. This has a coefficient, so it's a 13. Could show more reach and overstep. And I think I've heard that on every test. So I know this is something we really, really need to be working on. At F, halt for 4 seconds and then proceed working walk. And he stops and he stands still this time. And I got a 9. A 9 on this maneuver. It's got a coefficient, so 18, best score ever. I will never get any better than that probably. No comments. So between A and K, develop working jog, I got a 7 here. Needs to be more prompt in transition with more immediate energy. And you can see he's starting to come above the bit here and getting tense. Between E to B, half circle right 20 meters working jog, and then at B, proceed straight ahead working jog. I got a 7.5, slightly braced and pull, which he totally was. Between F and A, develop working walk, I got a 6. Prompt in transition, but loses clarity in the walk by stiffening shoulders. And then from K to B, change rein and free walk, and then at B, continue working walk. I got a 7, has a coefficient, so 14, needs to stretch down more with neck. Yep. I think he's doing a pretty good job tracking up, but he is just hanging his head out there. He's not coming over his back. At M, halt for 4 seconds, proceed working walk. Remember that 9 I got on my last halt? Well, now I got a 5. I get a 5. Comes out to 10 because he steps backwards to balance himself. And they also put not straight to aids, so he's a little crooked. He always turns his neck. I don't know why. The barn's over there. Maybe he's looking for someone to come rescue him or something. Our halts need a lot of work. Between C and H, develop working jog, and then HXF, change rein working jog. I got a 7. Energetic, but needs to be more balanced and less braced through the neck. So I was really pushing him here like, you will trot. you will get going, and you can see him kind of go, oh, okay, she wants me to go, and we kind of lose the connection during that. And then A, come down the center line, and look at this move, just all over the place. X, come down to a working walk. G, halt and salute, and we are not at all on the center line. He's not straight, his shoulders are everywhere. Somehow I got a 7 with comments of could be straighter in walk, transition, and halt. I don't know. She hated our walk throughout the test, but my straightness that I feel like personally I had so many qualms with, she scored me higher, so I don't know. So for collective marks, for our gaits, we got a 6.5. Walk tends to lose clear 4-beat rhythm. Okay, we'll work on that. Impulsion, I got a 7. Needs to develop more suppleness over top line. Yep, as he becomes more supple, that will definitely help with our impulsion. Rider's position, seat, and hands, I got a 7.5, which I'm really happy about. I think that's my highest score there, but no comments. And I would have really liked to comment because I feel like the better I ride, the better he will do, and clearly there's room for improvement. Rider's correct and effective use of the aids, I got a 7. Aids need to create a more steady, soft acceptance of bit and develop more willingness to stretch down with the neck. And then for harmony, which I feel like that day there was no harmony. He was not happy to see me. He was not into this. Again, I think he was sore, honestly. But we got a 7, and there's coefficient, so 14. Comments were work for Ben to be on outside aids, and he's obedient, but at times tense in connection. Balance needs to be more consistent. And then, I read exactly what is here. I don't add stuff, I don't leave stuff out, and they put beautiful horse, which we've heard a couple times, and I don't know, maybe it's going in my head, maybe judges everywhere that's how they start, oh, you have a beautiful horse. Maybe this is a pity comment, like he's really terrible, but he's pretty. I don't know. Anyway, fairly accurate test. Horse needs to develop more strength over top line to stretch into more consistent light connection and maintain more steady balance. So that would have been it from this judge, but I paid extra for more comments because I am taking this seriously. I want to progress up through the levels. I'd like to take him off the property and to a show. I'm really going for it. So I paid for the extra comments. So let's get into my points and my score. Let's do that first. So I got 152.5 points, and I did not get the 70. I got a 69.318%. So close. If he had just stepped forward in that halt instead of backwards, I think we would have been there. I think I would have gotten like at least a 6 on that instead of the 5, but I don't know. You tell me what you think. Maybe, although my center lines, I would have scored lower, so who knows? I'm happy with the 69.318%. So here are the comments. There's a lot here. High points of test. Overall, this is a beautiful horse that looks perfect for Western dressage. The rider is balanced and quite accurate. Points needing improvement. Horse doesn't always accept connection and tries at times to lean on the bit, losing balance and causing the tempo to change. Yep, totally. He's either leaning on the bit and I feel like I'm getting the best arm work out of my life, or he's too soft and he curls behind the bit and I feel like I'm on a freight train that has no brakes. Aids need to help this horse learn to stretch forward and down into a more elastic connection with the reins. And then what I should work on, connection, improving the quality of the walk and keeping the horse on the aids and halt. If you know of a good video or a good resource specifically on halts, please point me in that direction, because this is going to be the thing that bothers me now in every test. this is the score that's going to mean the most to me now in every test, are the halts. So ideas, she put ideas, number 1, about the bit. I rarely say this on my final remarks and tests, but since the horse seems to be willing, I'd check his teeth and or perhaps try a different bit. Totally fair. I do need to have his teeth done. That is on the list to have done. And then I actually rode him in a different bit before I got these scores back. So in all of my tests so far, you've seen at the end, I've ridden him in just a miler, like level 2 snaffle bit. He's done pretty well in that bit, and I don't change bits that frequently. I'm not one to just like throw something in every day, every different ride. But I did feel like, let's try a different bit because he was so tense when I shot this. So the bit I rode him in that I feel like he actually did better had a lozenge, a copper lozenge in the middle. So it was a double jointed bit, a little bit more mild. He seemed to do well. He had like the green slime around his lips, so he was softer in his mouth. It just felt a little bit easier to ride him that day. He'd also had some time off. So all of those things coming together, that could have been the reason. But I do think I am gonna stick with that bit for the next couple of rides and see how things go. There are moments when he seems to be leaning on connection and stiffening his pole. Since this is not pervasive in the whole test, I'd rule out a few things. You actually need a bit that you can take contact with to help the horse learn to stretch into rounder top line. The rounder top line will help the horse develop more strength over its back and improve the walk. And then she gives me a good paragraph here about the walk because she really was scoring me, I don't want to say low because 6.5 is decent, but anyway, here's what she says. The walk. When your horse stiffens the contact, it shortens its steps in front, causing the loss of a secure 4-beat rhythm. The rhythm of the walk needs to be 4 beats, equally spaced. If you have trouble feeling this, look at a video and see whether or not the front and hind legs from the side create a V under the horse. A horse that isn't supple over its back won't step under with its hind leg and meet the front leg before it leaves the ground. This gives the impression of a pacing walk, which is not desired. So a few things here again, I said maybe I was just pushing him a little too much at the walk because I really wanted that overstep. And if he was a bit sore and tight in his back, he wasn't going to do that for me anyway. So I'm not disagreeing that it wasn't a great walk, and there's room for improvement here. So as we work on our suppleness, I'm hoping that's going to fix a few things here at the walk. From the ground, spend some time doing carrot stretches, with the horse stretching down as far as possible and with the nose coming down into its chest. From the saddle at the walk, take up enough connection with your leg on so that when you relax your arms, the horse pulls forward. At that point, your arms must be light and following. Be ready to repeat this process so that the horse begins to do a give and take oscillation with its head and neck. So I think she means if I'm half halting, if I'm kind of moving that bit around in his mouth, he's supple and he's kind of doing one of these and following with his head and neck. Rather than like getting stiff and bracing in his pole or maybe like clamping down on the bit. Horses pull against pressure. So if you take back, they will want to brace. Be ready to relax your arms when your horse does this. The end result is that you will allow the horse to move its head more in the walk without changing the light pressure that you create. Don't forget to use your leg to encourage the horse to be more active. This can also be done at the jog. Caution, too much seat at the walk or jog will depress the back and raise the head. Think of coming up behind someone and pushing on their shoulder blades. You want your seat aids to be light. So I also agree with this. I've been working a little bit on posting versus sitting the trot and using my seat more. And that's, again, something I'm still getting used to. So it could be that, I did post in this test, but that certainly needs more work and just, noted. I need to use my seat better. And then the last thing here is about the halt. Your first halt was wonderful. The second lost points because the horse balanced a half step backward and seemed anxious to go on. Be very patient when your horse wants to move out quickly. Try to make the horse wait 10 seconds or longer to train this, which I do. I do halt. We stand there and I halt him all over the arena, not just in the spots where they're calling for halt in the test. So I make him halt. We'll stand and stand and stand. Like I said, if he starts to get wiggly and move around, I've done things like just bump him forward a few steps so that he's not thinking of going backwards. Or if he's really moving a lot, I've even pushed him up right into a trot and done like a trot circle and then come back to the halt to be like, hey, you get a break, take the break, or I'm gonna make you work. So I've tried a couple different tactics, but I again think there's a suppleness issue that's underlying with our halt. So where was I? Work to make the horse learn that you can keep your leg on lightly at the halt and it doesn't mean walk off. Takes patience. And then last comments here, this is a nice horse and I'd like to encourage you to keep on training up the levels. Good luck. So this is encouraging. I know what I need to do for the next test. I would love to write a test for the October show, which is currently open. Time is a bit of an issue. We're already into like coming up in the second week of October here. It's getting colder. I just need to, and I don't have enough time really to like work on all this suppleness to film a test the end of October when it might actually be not a great time to be filming. I'll ride in the cold, that's not a problem, but how clean can I get him? We have an indoor, but it's not big enough to film in for what they want you to do. Like you need to be pretty far behind C with your camera, and we don't have that option in our indoor. So I'm not gonna promise that there will be a test in October, but I'm really gonna try to film one. I don't know which one I'm gonna do because I've done all 4 tests. Do I go with my test that scored the lowest, which was the one in June, and see if how much I can improve that by? Do I do this one again to really try to go for that 70? So I'll think about it. And if you have any thoughts, pop them down in the comments. Let me know what you think. So I want to thank you if you stuck around this long for being here still. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.